Well, hello, all our abundant investor friends, and welcome to another edition of our Abundant Wednesday. Today, we have our wonderful Miss Shelley Hagen. So we've been chatting with a whole bunch of other people, other investors, but today Shelley is going to share her story with us, and then we can have some questions for her. Miss Shelley, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Nina, and welcome to everybody out there in our group. So thanks for joining us. So Nina and I have, a couple of weeks ago, Nina had shared her story and how she got started. And today, she asked if I would share my story for everybody as well. So some of you know me, have known me forever. Some of you haven't known me very long, but I started this, what I call my little adventure in real estate investing in Regina, Saskatchewan, back in about 2001. I used to work for the phone company, and the phone company had decided to give a voluntary severance package in 2000. And I had actually been trying to leave the company for quite some time. But every time I went to leave, I got a new promotion, I got more money, and I was always enticed to stay. But I decided at that time, it was time. I was ready to move on. I'd moved into middle management. I looked around and went, there's not a whole lot of places I want to go. The higher you go in the company, the fewer job opportunities there are. And the company was, downsizing people. So I was like, really, is this something I really want to do, or do I want to take this opportunity and just go? So I decided to go. And at the time, I found out that my friend, Carol McConaughey, who also worked with me in the phone company, was leaving too. And both of us were single, no husbands, no kids. And we thought, well, let's get together and have coffee and figure out, what do you do in life after Sasstown? And then I realized we both had a common interest, a couple of common interests, actually. We both worked in call centers, and we had looked at some opportunities to get positions in the United States. And we also had an interest in real estate investing. And I didn't know that about Carol, and I didn't realize she'd had a rental property at one time. And I had been looking to buy a property with a basement suite in it, and I hadn't found anything that really suited my needs at that particular time. So anyway, we decided, let's look into this together. So we started looking around, and what we did realize is that, we'd worked at a really good company that had really good training programs. And we felt if we could find some education out there that we could, help ourselves, we figured, we would grow that much faster in our business if we, got a few tools to help us. So we decided to invest in ourselves and took some training, and we did that. And then we decided, yep, that's what it was. So as I was getting ready to leave the phone company, everybody was asking me, my mom and my dad, all my friends, people at work, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And finally I said to them, well, I think we're going to do this real estate investing. And I was going to start this company with Carol, one of my friends. And they're like, okay. And then people started saying, well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? And finally, one day I just looked at them and said, you know what? I have absolutely no idea at this point how I'm going to do this. But all I know is that I'll figure it out. And, you really just have to believe in yourself. And you got to trust in your head and your heart that you can do it, because you can do it. And so from then on, I realized that that is the motto of being an entrepreneur. You can't possibly know everything. I've done a lot of training over the years. So has Nina. And we have a lot of students that come through the program, and they're like, oh, I'm going to take all the courses first, and then I'm going to, start putting in offers. And then, nothing happens. And it's like, well, we took our first initial course, we were out like putting in offers, and then we're taking all the other courses and learning as we went, so you just got to take that education and apply something to it. And so sorry, Nina, yeah, you had a question.
That's okay. And that's something I remember, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I took training from Shelley back in 2009 or 10. So, yes. And I remember sitting there and admiring you, going, wow, this lady just did it. She made the decision, She got the education and she did it and she applied it. And
Right.
just like you're going to say, as soon as you have that knowledge, you apply. You don't wait to accumulate all the knowledge. Just take it, what you have, run with it, and grow with it. And
Yes.
that's exactly what Shelley would teach us. I remember that one saying you used to say, fake it till you make it.
Yes.
And I loved that because it's like, okay, you know what? I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm going to know this eventually, but I'm going to keep doing it and keep pushing forward. And that's what you taught and you continue to teach. And it's an amazing, amazing thing to say.
Well, and you know, some people take it as a negative, but I take it as a positive because it's really all about, again, trusting yourself, right?
Yes.
Because when you get on the phone, you want to get the phone calls coming in because you want to get leads coming into your business so that you can start to find deals. But you can't possibly know everything about every deal that's going to come in, especially when you first get started. I mean, the first few phone calls are terrifying if you've never done that kind of thing before. You don't know the lingo and you don't know all the questions to ask. But you know,
Well,
you just get in there and do
you
your
stammer,
best.
you stutter, you make yourself sound like a fool, but you know what? Each time you progress better. So it's like you take that first one, you check it off, you got the sweaty palms, now it's over with, and you just keep going. And that's what Shelley teaches, and it's so great.
Totally, and that's exactly what it's all about. And so our second motto was go big or go home. And so we had, both of us were single, no husbands, no kids. We had two households. Carol lived out at Regina Beach. I lived in Regina. So we had to replace two really good incomes as well. So our first focus was on getting rental properties. So we started buying low income properties that we could rent out very quickly. And we were getting great cash flow. But they were not the kind of properties we wanted to hold forever. Our intent was no more than 5 years, get in, get a base, get ourselves going, and away we go from there. Well, then we realized in short order that we were sitting on a gold mine of properties in Regina that tons of investors wanted to get access to. And so we started meeting people from across the country and we started wholesaling houses in Regina. And so people were coming, to Regina. We had other investors in Regina that we found. We were doing this full time, where a lot of people were doing it part time. So we were finding all kinds of deals and we were getting great connections. So we just started wholesaling off a few deals. We'd keep what we could, wholesale the rest. And we just kept doing that. And finally we hit the magic ceiling, or the glass ceiling, magic number of 96 units within about 10 months is what we bought. And we kind of maxed out our financing. We started off with very little money. We each put a couple $1,000 in, and we did all kinds of creative strategies. We had good credit. And so we were able to get access to a lot of money in a short period of time through lines of credit, credit cards, etc., because we had good credit, even though we'd left our jobs at that point in time. So we had some challenges getting financing. I found a really good mortgage broker that was able to help us get financing. So we were able to buy those 96 units on our own. And then we realized, well, we need to start finding joint venture partners. And so we started going out and talking to people. And that was really difficult for us because both of us are very independent. I have been my entire life. Just ask my parents. I think I drove my mom and dad crazy when I was a kid. But
aren't most entrepreneurs independent? We're independent thinkers. We think outside the box.
Exactly. And I always wanted to be my own boss, right? So it was just destiny. And so, here I go. And we thought, okay, who are we going to go to? So one of our old bosses had left the phone company, was working in a really good job, and was making probably 2 or 3 times the money that we had before. And so we went to him, and we're like sweating bullets doing that first meeting, right, to go look for money. And we sat down with him, and we were going to do a fix and flip deal. And we sat down with him and went through the whole process. And at the end, he goes, what you probably don't know is, like, I own 15 rental properties in Regina. I went, what? No idea.
Cool.
He had been doing this. And he he loved the project. And so he then said to us, but here's the deal. He said, the project looks good, everything's good. He said, but it's Carol and Shelley that sold me on the deal because I know you. and I know who you are. And he said, I'll lend to you all day long. And we kind of went, wow, because it's one of the bigger fears of real estate investors that get started is asking people for money. And really, when you get out there and start looking at it, if you have a good deal, the money was there. And if you're honest and forthright and just be who you are when you're talking to people, you'll find all kinds of money. And so the thing that I learned from that is that we should have been asking for money way sooner.
From the get-go, right? You
Right?
OPM, use other people's money from the get-go, yes.
Right, totally. And so we bought 96 units on our own, but if we would have brought joint venture partners in earlier, we probably would have been able to double that. And so we just went on from there. So we continued to buy rental properties in Regina, Saskatchewan and Gatineau, Quebec. And we were buying higher end stuff in Gatineau. And then we started doing fix and flips, and we went to some training and realized, oh, hey, we could do discount notes, because we'd taken some training in the United States about discount notes. So we started working on that process, and we did a few discount note deals in Canada, which are a little more difficult. And then we did a little bit of private lending, with our RSPs, and, I focus on doing that wherever possible. And we've tried land development. I own commercial property, I owned a mini storage. I've owned multi-unit apartment buildings, single family homes, moved into rent to own in Regina. And then that's one of the things that I specialize in Calgary on. And I've done that in the United States as well. So back in about 2003, Carol and I moved into the United States and started working in the US. We started in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And we just wholesaled down there. We didn't buy any properties to hold, we just wholesaled. Then we moved into Phoenix, and Carol pretty much has lived in Phoenix full time. That was her goal when we got into this business, was to invest in the US, which we kind of looked and went, okay, we got about 36 million people in Canada, 360 million in the United States, a lot more real estate deals down there. So we wanted to get down there. So she's been down there, she has family in the United States, and that was her goal. So we've been able to accomplish that. I go back and forth all the time. We still do business together. She has her own business. I do my own business. We do stuff together. I have partners for many things like Nina. And so, I just have done a lot of different things. And then I have spent a lot of time doing training and education. That's how Nina and I met originally.
Yeah, I've always been an awe of Shelley, and like the process and your story and everything. And I'm so glad you had a chance to share with all our abundant investors. Because I also want you to share your mentorship journey and how you help educate people, because you have a plethora of knowledge that you share and you have to share. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to kind of stop the interview right now and thank Miss Shelley for sharing her story. And then I think we're going to have another discussion about your mentorship and how you educate investors so we can all succeed together and have an abundance.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you very much.
Right on.
All right.
Thanks so much, Shelley. And hope you guys all have an abundant and an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great week. Happy investing.